Hello beautiful creative friends, it's Belinda and I'm back today with another new project to share with you for the Confessions of a Paper Addict design team. So this month is actually the 5th birthday of the Confessions of a Paper Addict store, and we are having a whole month of celebrations. Now, one of the things that Virginia is offering as part of this month's birthday celebrations is some free cut files over in the Facebook group. So if you head down to my description box below, you will find the link to the Facebook group, and if you visit that group before the 31st of March, you can grab this cut file that I'm working with here, which is the present delivery cut file. You can grab that as a free download along with, I think there's 4 other cut files that are available at the moment. One of the other ways that we're celebrating is the design team members each came up with a little challenge. So we have some challenges which have been shared over on Instagram and also on the Facebook group. And for me, the challenge that I've created is one of my favorite little tricks for saving time on my memory keeping projects. And that is getting 2 layouts for the price of 1. So what I'm actually doing here is I'm creating a layout for my daughter's album. And I also go ahead and create an identical design layout with the same kind of photo, which is going to go into my son's album. And you'll see the photos of that companion layout coming up at the end of this video. So that's a lot of talking from me. The only other thing that I want to mention is you can see that I have already backed that cut file off camera, and I've turned the balloons into some sequin shakers. So if you stick around, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, make sure that you go ahead and subscribe, because later in the week I'm going to be sharing a little tutorial just showing you how I create a shaker pocket from just a basic cut file. So I'm going to walk you through the process in the Silhouette Studio software, and then I'm also going to show you just putting all of the bits and pieces together to create the little shaker. So if you're not quite sure how to do that, or you're just looking for some new ideas, make sure that you stick around, because I will be sharing that later in the week. So the photo that I'm documenting, every year I take a photo of my kids' birthday presents and I get them some balloons, and that's what they wake up to on their birthdays. And I always take a photo of the setup before I go to bed. So I've got these same photos for both of my kids for every birthday. So that little present delivery cut file was just absolutely perfect for this story. And while I've been chattering away in the background, I have added some Nouveau paste through a star stencil, and I wanted to have that peeking through 3 different spots on my design. I also did show you there how I've prepped a little border strip. So I grabbed a star border punch and punched it out of some white cardstock, and then laid some glitter cardstock behind it just to peek out from behind the stars. And now I'm cutting down some pattern paper, which I'm also going to add, which is going to create a border. I'm not adding a full border to this page. I'm just creating a little border strip on either side of the page, of the layout. So I'm using some wet adhesive. I'm not sticking it down super well, because I am going to add some machine stitching, and I don't want to have too much glue there to gum up my needle. While I was chattering away at the beginning as well, you may have noticed that when I opened up my Nouveau embellishment mousse, I've had this for a really long time and I very rarely bring it out. It was quite dry and crumbly, but I took my little spray bottle which had some water in it, and I just added a few spritzes of water and used my little palette tool to mix it around, and that really helped to bring it back together and soften it up. So if you're like me and you've got some of those mixed media products in your stash that are sort of don't get a lot of love, you can try adding some water. Not all mediums will work that way, but certainly those embellishment mousses, which do dry out pretty easily, they come back with a little bit of water sprayed on top. So I've added those pattern paper strips over the top of the star border punch, and laid that down on either side of my layout, and I have just taken it over to my sewing machine and added a simple row of white stitching down each of those. And now I'm going to prep my photo. So you can see that I've printed on a 4x6 piece of photo paper, but I have added a white border, and I'm going to trim that white border down and add a cardstock mat instead. Now that might seem like a bit of wasted time and a little bit redundant, but for me, I really love the added layer of having that white cardstock border rather than just a printed border. So I've added that to some scrap white cardstock that I had, and then I'm going to mat the photo onto this beautiful pink star paper. It's from the 6x6 paper pad, and I'm using an Echo Park collection here for this. I've got the girl version and the boy version, and it is called Make-A-Wish. I think it's a fairly new collection, so I've got all the bits and pieces there from that, and those are the collections that I'm using. Now this actual layout the design is going to be pretty simple. There's really not a lot of embellishing going on, and the reason for that is that the cut file really is the hero on this page, because it is so detailed, and I have got those sequin shakers there. I know that I don't want to do a whole lot to the rest of the page because I just don't want it to become too cluttered and too overwhelmed. But the title piece that I'm going to use, which is a sticker from the collection, it has got multiple colors, so it's quite colorful and it brings in all the different colors of the collection. So I wanted to add a little bit of something to either side of my photo here just to tie that all together. So we've got, it's not really monochromatic, but I've chosen some pinks and some blues for backing the cut file, also in the sequin mix. And I wanted to make sure that I was covering the rest of the colors that are in this collection. So there are some greens and some yellows and some purples. And overall, it goes really, really well with the photos of the balloons. Sorry, the colors of the balloons in that photo. Now, I do apologize here. It looks like my camera is going in and out of focus quite a bit. I'm not sure what's going on there or what's happened. I will have a look at it again before I record my next video, but we seem to be good for now. So I'm just having a little play around with the placement because it is quite a simple design. I want to make sure that everything is really well balanced. So in the end with this one, I think we end up slightly top heavy. So the photo and the balloon cut file, they do end up just a little bit more towards the top of the page, but it's not so bad that it's too noticeable. So I did use my T-square ruler there just to make sure that that photo was nice and straight. And then because I've got the shaker pockets behind the balloons, they have got quite a bit of added dimension to them. So I'm just adding some foam tape behind the present part of the cut file, and that's going to help that cut file to just sort of stay flat. I'm not adding anything to the bows. Don't really think that I need it there, but having them on the present, underneath the present, will just help the presents pop off the back of the page the way that the photos are. And I was just using my T-square ruler there to get a rough idea of the distance from the side that the photo is placed, and then I'm trying to get my cut file down in roughly the same place. So there's about the same distance from the edge on the left and the right hand side of the page. And as I said, you can see here that it's definitely sitting more towards the top when I put that cut file down, but I am going to add the title in as well, which is going to help to balance it out just a little bit. So I've got these little alphabet tiles. Now these I have stamped and cut myself with a really fabulous product which comes from the stamp market. And I've used a pink fresh ink there, which you can see off to the very top right of the screen. It's called Raspberry Bliss. And I wanted to add just a little bit of extra to the title. So I've got a title piece that says Celebrate, and these little alphabet tiles are saying time to. So I'm just showing you, this is my little trick here for getting these lined up really nicely. I lay them down on my mat using the lines as a guide, grab some washi tape, pick the whole lot up, add a little bit of wet adhesive behind them, and then place them down. And once the glue is dry, I'm able to peel up the washi tape fairly easily. Now, I don't actually have that down completely straight, but again, it's not so crooked that it's bothering me, which is saying something because crooked tends to bother me quite a lot. So here is that sticker. It is from the 12x12 sticker sheet. It just says Celebrate, and it's got all the beautiful colors of the collection. Because one side of it is going to be sitting up on the cut file that has been raised by foam tape, I'm adding a little bit of foam to the side of the cut file that will be sitting flat on the page, just to help that to prevent it from bending in the middle. So now I've peeled that washi tape off, and that's when I've realized that it's a little bit crooked, and I will try to use my tweezers to peel it up, but it's stuck down, so it's not going anywhere. It's staying right where it is. So that Celebrate piece has got a little bit of a curve to it, and that's why I wanted to add those letters in there. It's just to fill in that little bit of space between the photo and the title. And then I will also come in and add some glitter stars to fill in that last little bit of white space that's sitting there. I've got this sticker here that just says Celebrating You. I'm going to add that to the side of the photo, and then here I come with my gold glitter stars, and this is just about the finishing touch. I'm just going to add these in 2 places, and that is really just to create a visual triangle, because I do have the gold glitter in the cut file. Adding the gold glitter again in 2 different places around the photo just to help to create that visual triangle. And the only thing that I'm going to add at the end is I'm going to grab a little asterisk, a sweet little stamp set, which is from Elle's Studio. And I'm going to use that same Pink Fresh Studio Raspberry Bliss ink, and I'm going to stamp that in 2 different places around the page. And again, that's just to create that visual triangle with the bright pink of the Time To words. So we have got some close-up photos coming right now. If you stick around right to the end, you will also see the photos of the layout that I created for my son. I do hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, I'd love for you to go ahead and leave me a comment or give me a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button and join me on my upcoming paper crafting adventures. But I will leave it there for now and say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.